Hey folks, tonight's episode of Live from My Mother's Basement is brought to you by Paramount Bakeries. Fresh baked bread since 1924. My favorite is the Italian whole wheat. Find them on Instagram at Paramount Bakeries. You can also find your favorite Paramount Bakeries breads in your local grocery store. Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. And we're rolling. And you know what that means? It means it's time for another episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. And I'm so excited to be in the basement because I really am. Sometimes I do the show from my studio in Los Angeles. It looks great. It's fun. Everything is good. Great characters, great guests. But this is the basement. And I always feel so much better when I'm down here. I feel safe. I feel like nobody could get me. And the food's better down here for some reason or other. But ladies and gentlemen, I met this man because he's a friend of a friend, and he came to one of my shows, and he's watching the show, and he's laughing, he's having a good time, and I look at him like, wait a minute, do I know you? And then I looked at his credits on IMDb, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm going to get him to come down the basement. This is Anthony. Now I'm going to have a hard time saying his last name, so why don't you go ahead and do it?
Laciura, like a sneeze.
Laciura.
Ah, va bene.
Like a sneeze.
Yes.
That's actually really funny. Laciura, did you call me? No, I got a cold. Oh, you heard that?
I haven't. You're the first one.
He's been hearing that his whole life. Laciura.
No.
Did they call you Anthony or Ant? Because my younger brother's Anthony. We said Ant our whole life.
Yeah. Well,
Ant.
I get a lot of people, close personal family call me Ant, but everybody calls me Anthony. Some of my colleagues have called me Tony, but my mother and father said he's Anthony.
What do you use as your professional name in showbiz? Tony?
Anthony Laciura.
Anthony.
I always thought if I did a lot of musical theater, and if I did stand-up, and if I did one-man shows, it would be Tony. But since I kept it mostly through the opera, I thought Anthony works.
Opera. This is so cool for me because I can't sing a note. I always wished I could sing. And then I've had some Broadway singing stars come down the basement. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I had these four guys, if I could just say it, they were the Jersey Tenors. And they were all in Jersey Boys. One guy was the star of Spider-Man on Broadway. One guy was the star of what's the scary ongoing Broadway show with the guy in Phantom of the Opera?
Oh, that one.
He was in Phantom of the Opera and a couple other
Well, you had real good, legit singers.
I couldn't believe it.
You had good, legit singers.
And I made them sing a cappella on the show.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, they must have sounded great.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And they even said the acoustics in the basement were unbelievable.
Well, sure. Look, it's a brick.
Everything is brick. Go figure, an Italian house made of brick. No. But when they sang, it was unbelievable. I'm like, why are you guys here? Why are you guys here? But I think
you invited them.
That too. But I think people in show business, at least the good people, no matter how high you climb, you just want to entertain no matter what.
That's exactly right.
Something.
Yeah. We lost that sort of we had to learn how to gain that in opera because in the early days when you had time to travel by boat, by ship, you had all this calm time and it was more of this untouchable thing for Americans. But then as it progressed, we had to realize that we too are just entertainers who are out trying to entertain so that the people that are buying now $400 tickets, they are getting their money's worth. So it's changed in that respect.
Well, let's rewind and we'll start from the beginning of where are you from? Where were you born, raised?
Born, reared, educated in New Orleans, Louisiana.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. And
New Orleans.
I was different sort of personality because I was always moving, running, trying to get things done. And New Orleans lifestyle is slow, as you know. I'm sure you've been there. And it's a little... So I said, well, we can't get things done here. Anyway, I began studying when I was 10 years old as a boy soprano and did a lot of singing.
explain that in detail as you can, because a lot of my audience could be from different parts of the world.
Sure.
Not everybody understands that. You just say rehearsal or practice. Not everybody gets
Right.
showbiz, like what we go through, what you
yeah.
do. So
Well,
you
as
say
a
at 10 years old, is that when you thought, I want to be an opera singer or a singer, an actor?
Well, oddly, yes, it is when I thought I wanted to be an opera singer, and I went and I was gifted. I was just gifted. So
So even at 10 years old,
yeah,
someone
I had a quality sound as a boy, not Bianco, not white, not that, but it was a quality sound, but like a woman. So I began studying with the teacher. What does that mean? That means going to a lesson and working on technique, how to lower the laryngeal position, how to go from to that being dropped down so that a lot of sound comes out and the resonate. So you do that every day. Now, you're talking about a 10-year-old kid whose father was there sitting at every lesson. And when he was there, his mother. And then when she did both ways, I was there by the bus and the streetcar.
So your family made sure that you were getting the lessons they were paying for.
The nun in the boys' choir said, your son has, he has an exceptional voice. Maybe he should study privately. Now, nowadays, most teachers will not take as classical singer a 10-year-old kid whose voice has not changed, who has not gone through puberty yet. But in the early days, with the castrato, before their voices changed and their maturity, if it was a beautiful voice, they were operated on, very medieval-like, and tried to remain as a soprano sound, but a big soprano sound. Where now, when we go through a series of technical aspects to welcome the new voice in after, it's the biggest shock in the world when you're singing a wedding and you're saying, Ave Maria, gratia plena. And
Does it really happen that way?
Oh, yeah. For me, it did, because I was singing a wedding as a boy soprano. And then the change started to happen because I was moving into puberty with hair.
So just to clear your throat, or are you saying, oh?
No, that's what the organ says. Oh, Anthony, it's no worry. Did you have milk in your coffee? No, I knew it was milk. I
would have thought that too.
Yeah, but I knew it was time because I knew you have to grow. We have to keep going. We can't stop.
What is the age that a man or a boy voice changes?
It's 13.
13.
Now, there are all types of exceptions. There are some times when the voice doesn't change until about 16 or 17. Generally, what happens is for those people become the basses. It's you can disagree or argue the fact, but a lot of times when it's a late change, vocally, it's usually the voices are very low. But mine was so screwed up. I changed at 13.
I know. I'm going to say this, and I know everybody's going to laugh and say Mike's a knucklehead. I know about a voice changing, when you become, when you go through puberty.
You go through puberty. Everything falls. And
I think the guy who took us through puberty and taught us or made me understand the changing of my voice was the Brady Bunch. When Peter Brady was singing.
Yeah.
It was singing. They had a group.
Yeah.
And they sang a song, when it's time to change, and it's time, and he goes, change. Do you remember this episode?
I remember that episode very well, because you feel it. You know what the kid's going through, and it's some of them cry. I know some kids that were at the Met.
Move your body just a little bit.
Yeah. Some kids at the Met, they were. It was starting to happen, and the chorus master of the children's choir would say, Anthony, can you talk to so-and-so and explain what's going to happen and blah, blah. And I would, but it's not really a comfort because you've been singing this way, and if you've been doing it in the Met chorus as a child in the children's chorus, it's shocking. And it's
okay. So at the age of 10, everybody's noticing that you actually can sing. For real?
Well, yeah, but they noticed that at 10. Yes, exactly, 10. And then after when I began studying, then my voice started getting fuller and richer because he was giving me a bel canto, what is called the bel canto technique of an open throat, pronunciation with the tongue, and smooth supported breathing, which helps in anything. It helps the same feeling in weightlifting. You grab the
core.
grab the core muscle, boom, you do the same damn thing when you're singing. You're trying, and you get that breath and everything lowers. So even as a soprano, so I have a recording of me that as 12 and a half or so, singing a concert in high school because I got a scholarship to high school for music.
A scholarship to high school?
Yeah, for music, to sing. Can you imagine that? That doesn't happen.
No, I never even heard of that.
Yeah,
A scholarship to college.
Yeah, and I also
high
got
school?
that too. But yeah, and then by the time I was 15 years old, my voice had changed. And then I was invited to Loyola University in New Orleans to do their opera workshop program. So it was somewhat precocious, but it was a voice that grew quickly.
So your voice as a kid was a soprano,
And then
and now?
tenor. Then it moved to tenor and dropped. And now
I wouldn't know. I don't really
No,
know
no,
the
no,
difference.
that's-
There's a soprano, there's the bass
soprano
guitar.
is the woman. Yeah, it's bass guitar. Right. This is soprano.
What is it? Soprano,
It's the high stuff.
tenor.
Tenor is the man high stuff. Bass and or baritone is the men's low voice. So there was a book written called Men, Women, and Tenors.
What is like a Pavarotti?
Tenor.
He's a tenor.
He was a great tenor.
And you're a tenor.
Caruso was a tenor. I tell all my friends that I was never a leading tenor. I've always been a following tenor and a minor celebrity.
It's very interesting because I've never had anybody who specialized in opera
Yeah.
on the show. You know, jazz singers, blues singers.
Oh, yeah,
Then they really don't know much about the opera. And it's probably, in my pea brain, one of the most different art forms of singing.
Well, in America, it has become such, not as much, but a lot of an elitist form. And it's not. See, it shouldn't be. But because it's in another language, well, we tried to alleviate that by putting super titles and or met titles so that you're sitting in the seat, the opera's going on and you're looking up, and then right at your eye level is exactly what they're singing in English. So you understand what's going on, you know. So that broke a wall for the listener. But my father taught me a wonderful thing. He said he loved opera.
Right.
Italo-Americana, first generation in America. And he came over when he was here, and he'd go dating. When he'd tell his girls, "I'd like to take you to the opera." And he said to me, she would always say, the old girl would say, "Well, I don't know what they're saying." He said, "Oh," he says, "You know those singing, the hummingbirds, the nightingales, and all that. Don't you love how they sound?" He said, "Oh my God, yeah, they sound so beautiful." He said, "What are they singing?" I said, "What do you mean, Tony?" "Well, what are they saying? You don't understand, but you just enjoy it, don't you?"
Right.
It's the same thing with opera. So for me, a lot of what they're singing, I can understand because I speak Italian. And I can understand how, but just let the music come inside of you. It's the same thing as jazz. It's the same thing as jazz. When you're in a club, I was with Dr. Vincent Persichetti, who wrote a lot of material. And we were in a jazz club because I hung out with the jazz musicians as an undergraduate. And we would, and the girl, close friend of mine in the club, started scat singing.
What is scat singing?
Scat singing is essentially what early music had when you go,
Isn't that opera?
yeah, but the jazz people would go and take a word. For instance, I am weak, but thou art strong.
Oh, like they added something to it?
Yeah, they're just a little tag, and then
an ad lib fill.
and my heart was filled, filled with joy. So he's taking his pad out and he starts jotting down notes. I said, "Dr. Persichetti, you can't do it. You can't just write it down. They don't write that down because they don't know what they're going to do. It comes from the inside. And it's the same with jazz, and it was the same with Baroque music. So these singers would get up there and give a line, dum, 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 and they would, and they would sing all of this stuff over those basic chords, but they would fill it all in. Later on, people like Mozart came and filled everything in and said, you sing it this way, or don't sing my music, essentially. The growth is phenomenal. And look at jazz, where it started from. It was in the fields, in the cotton fields,
right?
In the churches. That's. I remember Pete Fountain is the one that taught me how to do Just a Closer Walk with Thee. He and Sweet Emma with the Preservation Hall band. I remember the first Preservation Hall band was Sweet Emma. She had 18 strings of hair at your color, and she sit there just, it was sort of like slap piano, bang, bang. I am weak, but thou art strong. Oh Jesus, Jesus, Jesus! And so, with Pete Fountain playing it, just on the and jamming with him, and then jamming with Ellis Marcellus when his son was very young on the trumpet. It was like I was getting lessons as a kid, singing opera, but knowing where do you turn? Where's the blues note? Where's, that kind of thing.
So you can't really do ad lib in opera.
Well, you can if it's the period. For instance, when you listen to Madame Butterfly or you listen to any of Puccini, there's no ad-libbing. It's called through composed. And this is how I wrote it. And you didn't want anybody. I mean, now you hear people singing, making arias out of things where he didn't want that. He never repeated a word. You see, it just all flowed nice. It's just like music that we grew up with that had a real story, and it just didn't keep going back and forth. You had the A section. You may have had a B section, but the C section, or you didn't go back to an A. You don't go back. It's just,
I know some people who had a C section.
My mother. Look, I'm the result of a C section. Hi, how you doing? I was the first.
I'm the K section.
I'm the K.
So at 10 years old, this is when you start getting serious about being in it. So where did you go to high school and then college?
I went to Holy Cross High School.
Right.
Then I went to Loyola University in New Orleans because it was a college of music right in my backyard. It was assumed that I would do that. I had an offer for Juilliard as a young man graduating high school, but I thought, I'm staying because my teacher, I don't know enough yet. So I want to stay with my teacher who was building a strength in me that I didn't know if anybody else could do that. And I never thought, big New York.
Well, when you come out of a college and you're all prepared to become an opera singer, then what do you do? See, because, of course, as an actor, well, then you go get your 8x10.
Yeah.
You try to find an agent and you ask your friends, where is there an audition that you'd be right for? You basically got to hustle like an animal because there's really no...
That's what I did. I got up to New York after graduate school because then I went to Tulane University to get a Master of Fine Arts. And during that period of time, I did a great deal of opera in the university as well as in the summertime musical theater. So I was getting a whole bunch of education, always with an orchestra, not just with piano, but we always had an orchestra. It was fantastic. When I came up here in 79, people said, you did that with the orchestra? I said, yeah, why? You didn't? I said, no, we never. All over the United States, but in New Orleans, music.
Yeah.
And so that's how we grew up, and it was a wealth of knowledge. And then I thought, I taught high school. I sold shoes. I did, as you say, I hustled.
You got to do everything you can to get to where you want to be.
We do exactly the same thing you did. You get up here, you get your 8x10s, you find people that you know, you audition
the guy on the street corner asking for nickels might have your answer.
Exactly right. But that's the truth. And that's what we did. We did all of that stuff. And eventually, little by little, I got my equity card. I got an equity show. But my wife would say the same thing. How do you keep going? to every one of those auditions, and they keep telling me, "You sound great. We can't use you." I said, because sometime one day somebody's going to say, "You sound great. We want you for this role."
Yeah.
And it happens. So, but you got to be there.
Our business is completely out of control. There's no rhyme or reason. You don't know how to go about it, although you know how to go about it.
Yeah.
You may get something, you may not get something, but there's something in your blood that says you ain't stopping.
You ain't stopping.
And I don't even know what it is. I
can't
remember
tell
when I
you.
was in my 30s, I'm like, I can't take it. I just want to be a normal guy.
You can't.
And I
be.
can't.
You can't. We're not.
No.
That's the wonderful thing.
Somebody said
We're
to me
not.
last night at the induction into my high school Hall of Fame, he said to me, when people talk to you, you go into your head and think about something completely different, don't you? I'm like, yeah.
That's right.
I'm thinking about, what am I going to do with this conversation? I'm either going to put it in an act, I'm going to make it funny,
Yes.
or I'm going to direct a movie. I don't even watch a movie like a normal person. I
No.
watch the movie going, I wonder where the camera was.
Right. That's right.
How did he get that job?
How did he get that job?
So-
well, in theater and in movies, you make the plot of, you decide what the characters and what he did before he got on the screen, driving up here, all of that stuff, what's going through his head, and then you write that down. And a lot of directors want that, where you did research for the part. And so we do that as well in opera. A case in point, Opera Tosca by Puccini that you've heard. A lot of, I'm sorry, a lot of
That's all right.
familiar, but a lot of familiar tunes.
All opera is in a different language, right?
There's a lot of English opera now.
There is.
Terence Blanchard from New Orleans wrote "Fire Up My Bones." It's all based with New Orleans
Oh, wow.
rhythms and jazz. Premiered at the Metropolitan Opera, and it's about a prize fighter. And it's tremendous, but he's a tremendous composer.
When you were done with your college and then you started pursuing your career in New York City, I assume, what was your first, all right, I got myself a gig and I'm going to work?
Yeah. I had this was after graduate school, because I did a lot of work with the New Orleans Opera. New Orleans Opera gave me a lot of work of supporting characters, no leading. I was never the leading man. I wasn't a leading man in college, but and some of those things. But most of the opera, I was always the character guy, the funny guy, the sad guy.
Sure.
I sang in New Orleans, and the guy that was directing said, "I want you to sing for so and so, and I want you to come do Eugene Onegin for me," and with the Lyric Opera of Baltimore. And so all of a sudden, the Lyric Opera of Baltimore became my second operatic home, from New Orleans to Baltimore. Then after that, well, when I had a church job, and I went to every audition I could find that I could get into, and then little by little, then I got the cover position. The guy that got sick doing the particular roles, he got sick, I would go on. I went to New York City Opera.
What is that called? Swing shift? Swing?
Well,
swing?
you could call it it's
Understudy,
Not really, it's not-
understudy.
Understudy, yeah. We call it a cover, but it's an understudy in theater. The guy never got sick. I never went on, but I made a lot of friends, all who became great artists.
Let's explain that, okay? The understudy. Look this way. Watch.
Oh,
I'll
I'm
show
sorry.
everybody. An understudy is something that I've never had. You couldn't be an understudy to a stand-up comedian. What the hell would that be? I've never done a Broadway play. I haven't done plays in many, many years. I did all through school and stuff, but there was never an understudy.
Yeah.
But in big plays, important plays, of course, there's an understudy, because if the guy gets sick or maybe he gets hurt. But could you just imagine what it would be like to be the understudy, just coming every night and never getting on? That's gotta suck.
It sucks, the big
It
one.
sucks.
It's-
Because you gotta be saying to yourself, I can do this.
Yeah.
I might even be able to do it better than he's doing it.
In many cases.
Could you please get sick just one day? I mean,
Well,
it's got to be on your mind. It
it
would be
is.
on my mind. I'm like, can I trip this guy once?
Well, a lot of times, in many situations, you're in the opera or in the show, which would talk about the swing character. So you're doing a role and you're covering or understudy for another role. So you're there performing. It's just not doing the role that you would like to have done. And that happened with me when we were doing at the Met.
Oh, so you're in the play just doing something else.
Yeah, it's just not the role.
I thought maybe you're just sitting in the
but
audience
other ones-
waiting
No,
every night.
When you are covering the leading character, generally you're just the cover, sitting there thinking, this is never going to happen. This is crazy. Or if you go into the company as a cover, that's what you remain. You just get paid to be covering. That's it. It drives you nuts. But we were doing Der Rosen. No. We were doing the Fledermaus. And I was doing Dr. Blint, the blind, stuttering lawyer. And the director was doing the part of the drunk jailer, Frosch. But I was covering him, so I knew the whole thing. But I can watch and I can start imitating.
Where was it going
It's at
up?
the Metropolitan Opera. And
Hold on a minute, man. It's the Metropolitan Opera. He just blew it off like it wasn't that big a deal.
well, no.
That's
it
the
was
biggest
great.
place on the
it's
planet.
The Mecca. It's the Mecca for opera singers.
Okay, so you actually were
27 years.
27 years
Over 800 performances.
at the Mecca.
Yeah, I was at the
He just blew it off like it. We were at the Met. Come on, man. I never even walked by the Met.
Oh, God.
I never even been to an opera.
So anyway, Otto Schenk was a famous director in Germany. And was loved at the Met. He says, Anthony, if I fall and break my legs and my arms, you are not going on. I said, but they wouldn't know the difference, Adi. I do exactly like you. I'm telling you, they're not going on.
Really?
That's
Would that mean?
No, he was funny as hell. If he couldn't walk, well, maybe he would have been carried on. I don't know. They would have done it for him, put him in a wheelchair.
Was there ever a time where someone didn't show up and you got to go on in a different venue or a different play?
Yes, a Verdi opera, and my colleague, who I didn't think was sick, was doing a matinee performance. And I listened on the radio. My wife and I were buying a rocking chair in preparation for our son. And I listened. So I got into the theater and I went into Charlie's dressing room. I said, Jesus, you sound great. He said, I know, but I don't feel so great. I said, yeah, but you sound great. What do you want to do? You want to cancel? I'm here. Or you want me to go back to the apartment? In those days, you could cover from your apartment. He says, no, go home. So I'm going, I said, well, I'll stay for the first act just to hear you do what you need to do in the ensemble and all of that stuff. So I did, and he was doing all his stuff like always. And I said to Joe, come on, let's go. We may as well go home. He's fine. I'm getting everything. I'm just about to walk out of the theater, of the stage door. Mr. Laciura, please, Mr. Laciura, would you not leave the theater and report to Mr. Anthony's dressing room? And the guy that did that announcer was always fucking around, playing jokes.
Oh, yeah,
I said,
yeah.
Son of a bitch. I go, and my colleague, like my father, I can't even, there's this pea green look on his face, standing there, and they're ripping the clothes off of him. Down to his underwear. They're throwing the clothes on me. He's looking at me. I said, take care of Mr. Anthony. Put some clothes on him. He's really, really sick. I can see in his face. We got to get you dressed and get you out on the stage. And so they're doing all of this makeup, hair, all of this stuff going on. And I kept thinking of Charlie, because what we think of as singers, when you cancel like that or you're sick, you're never going to sing again. It's not a crazy feeling? You're never going to sing again.
All right,
This is the end. My career just ended, and I'm watching the person that's going to take over all of my roles as I'm standing here green and in my boxer shorts.
He's thinking that.
He's thinking that.
Right.
Not you.
Yeah, you're thinking, okay, I'm going on.
I'm going on, but I'm thinking, geez,
I didn't even know an understudy would understudy halfway through. I thought you started the beginning of that.
Well, not in opera. That's the whole point. And that's why
doesn't the audience know, hey, somebody else just walked out.
They announce it, the role of...
No, wait a minute. Yeah, they announce it halfway through a play?
They will announce it because the act ended. And then in the meantime, before the curtain goes up for the second act, they announce Mr. Charles Anthony has been ill, and to replace him is Anthony Laciura, his cover. Boom.
All right, well, come on. Now, hold on now.
I can do better than that.
Wait a minute.
I can do better than that. Watch.
So you're replacing the guy.
Yeah, he started the opera.
Okay, so First of all, didn't he know he was going to get sick? Like, didn't he
No.
start not feeling good?
We never do that. We're gonna. I just told you about Otto Schenk. That's the whole idea.
No, because I wouldn't walk off stage too. I've gotten on stage
Of
ready
course
to
you would.
puke.
Yeah.
When you get on stage, it goes away. I don't know where it
away,
goes.
yeah.
It disappears, and then you got like an hour.
Yeah.
Then you get sick again.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, but I didn't know somebody would replace somebody already halfway in, because what if people paid specifically to see one guy and all of a sudden they'd say, oh, by the way,
Well,
he's going home.
Beautiful.
Can you get your money back?
I'm going to tell you a story about what was like the night at the opera with the Marx Brothers.
Why wouldn't they even say, why don't they just don't say anything?
No,
You have to?
Right. A lot of times when you tell somebody, I'm not feeling so well, several things can happen. They can become sympathetic, or they can say, you don't sing as well as you're fired. But I was sick. Why didn't you tell us you're sick? Because someone said not to tell me when you were sick. All right, so I'm not going to tell you when I'm sick, and then you're going to fire me one way or the other? I don't understand the logic in that whole situation. But that's management. That's not the artist. But I tell you what, we were doing La Gioconda, an opera that's where you remember Hello, Mother? Hello, Father.
Yeah.
The music from that comes from La Gioconda. It's the dance of the hours.
Oh, shit, I thought that was something from Sesame Street.
No, that was from... So...
That's from opera?
Yes, that's from the fourth act of La Gioconda.
I am so lost in this interview.
Wait. No.
All I know, if I was in the audience and somebody said, hey, listen, Springsteen's not playing, Bon Jovi's here, you'd be like, wait a minute, what happened?
What happened? I paid for Springsteen.
Yes.
And that's what happened with Luciano and Placido. And here's the story. Placido's singing the first act of La Gioconda. Everything's fine. He cancels the second act. So the announcement, they said, Mr. Domingo is not feeling well and is unable to do the second act. Now, the second act is the big aria that everybody knows. Cielo e mar. Boo! Oh,
You?
No, I wasn't going on. Oh, hell no, I never did those roles. My mama didn't make no fool.
Well, who did?
So this guy, Carlo Bini, but instead of Mr. Domingo, we were fortunate to have Mr. Carlo Bini. Then they went nuts. Boo! I want my money back!
Holy shit.
So he comes out in the second act and starts with the cello and ma. He's like this. Because everybody's booing him. He's standing.
Where were you?
I was in the cover box because I was covering one of the little shit-ass parts. That made me a great career, by the way. That's why people said, you're a shit. I said, yeah, I know. So I'm up there watching. As soon as he finishes the hour, he runs off the stage. But he's got a duet to do. So the woman that's got the duet grabs him and says, you stay in here. And he's going, no. And so he's pulling. And then the next woman that comes and makes it a trio. He's in the middle. She's pulling up. And this is a big woman with a big dress. And she's pulling like this towards her bosom. It was, and then they started hitting the flats, which would just drop. So everything, I said, this is great.
It's a comedy.
And then after the second act, the conductor, he's standing there and he cuts everything off and he collapses on the music stand, walks off like, and they're helping him off, and in the wings, because you could see it, he goes, whew, and he gets off and he said, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, Maestro Patanè has to cancel. He became deathly ill after the third act. So Maestro Eugene Cohn is going to conduct the rest. Boo! Boo! It was the greatest night at opera, at the Metropolitan Opera. It was a great night. Everything went wrong.
Did anybody actually get their money back?
No. Excuse me. Once you pay,
Isn't this amazing? The upper crusty, the upper echelon, the people who supposedly have money to go watch an opera, started acting like a protest.
Yeah. And it happens, and it's a
protest,
shame. It's exactly
a riot.
A riot.
There was a riot at the Met.
Well, there were riots with early composers like Stravinsky doing the Firebird, and it was crazy music. And Wagner had a lot of fights
Really?
Oh yeah.
You would think everybody's just dressed up and prim and proper.
No, most of these people did their homework before, and they went and
I mean, we expect a riot at a rap concert,
Yeah.
not the opera. You animals! You disrespect.
Oh, you doggone right.
You disrespected the art.
You did. Sure, yeah. Well, Parma's famous for that. They still do, throwing the tomatoes up at the cabbages and all that.
I thought that was the Little Rascals, and that was it.
No, that's how they got it from off. They got it from Italy.
Did they really throw vegetables?
Yes, some tomatoes, rotten ones too, so they would get all over the costume. All
That
over the
is
face.
fucked up.
Oh God, yeah.
That is.
It's like the Lions and the Christians. I'm telling you.
No, I would think a rap concert or maybe rock and roll, heavy metal. That would be a riot. Not at the Metropolitan Opera.
It's so rare.
Wait a minute. So
makes it shocking.
you said there's an understudy for the composer? No,
For the conductor.
conductor.
Oh yeah.
There's an understudy for a conductor. How does he get sick?
The conductor doesn't generally. No, this conductor didn't get sick. He just didn't want to, after the second act, remain in this whole farce, because he was a very famous conductor since gone. So he said, I'm getting the hell out of here. After the second act, I get my check. Boom. Arrivederci Metropolitan Opera. Boom. And back to his hotel.
That is insane.
Plate of spaghetti and some red wine.
So
there's
as
so
you,
many stories. God.
yeah, I think I need to go to the opera more often.
I think you should.
That
Let
is
me know when you want to go.
hilarious.
I'm serious about this. You let me know when you want to go. We'll go together.
I never been to the Met.
It's
I
stunning.
think the only thing I really know about the Metropolitan Opera House would be from the movie Moonstruck.
Yeah, and that was only the front.
Yeah.
Inside was the San Francisco War Memorial.
Yeah.
That's where they framed it.
Wow.
They wouldn't let him come in.
So you spent how many years there?
27.
Wow. And what do you do? Get signed to be a regular?
Yeah. What happened in those days, we had something called plan artist, which means you're a weekly artist, which affords you the weekly pay plus overtime. And we used to get a lot of overtime because there was a lot of productions you had to do. But my first year at the Met, including the tour, I did close to 218 performances the first year. And then I thought they were going to fire me because my next season I only had 97 performances. I said, this is it. They're going to fire me. I don't know what I did wrong.
And they didn't?
No, of course not.
All right, so you spend a long time in the opera, but tell us about how Boardwalk Empire came into your
This
world.
is so crazy.
I mean,
I retired from the Met. It was my last year, 2007. So I had been going other places, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and going and directing opera, other places, Phoenix, other different places. And my then manager said, "You want Martin Scorsese, his people production, they want to audition you for a part in Boardwalk Empire." I said, "So, well," they said, "Well, it's called for Big Jim Colosimo." And he said, but I told him, he asked me, what did he look like? He said, well, he's about 5'6", and oh, well, that's not Big Jim Colosimo. He said, there is another part that we can't seem to cast, and it's for the role of Eddie Kessler, who's a German immigrant from Russia to Austria to New Jersey. Can he do accents? And my manager said, we can do any accent you want. He said, well, would he come and wear a three-piece suit and sort of look as best as he can for the period and audition for that? And we'll send him all the information. So they sent me the script. And I worked and worked and worked and worked it. And so I walked in, and the casting director said, hello, Mr. Laciura. I said, good morning. I wish you well this morning. He said, I'm a bit nervous. I'm so sorry. Because this is an audition for Martin Scorsese, who is like the greatest after Lina Wertmüller in the world. And and sometimes I'm studying because I'm translating from what I think I want to say in English in the German in my Kopf, my head, my head. Thank you. So, well, Mr. Laciura, where are you from? I said, I'm from the Bronx, but I figure if I could talk like this, you'd hire me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, I read it, did all this stuff. 2 years later, Steve Buscemi's, I meet his production person, head of his production company, and she says, "Oh, I know you, Anthony." I said, "Oh, it's a pleasure." She said, "I know when you were hired." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Because our production company is right next to the casting company for Marty, and the casting director ran over to her and said, 'After 6 years, we found Eddie Kessler.'" And I said, "Well, who is it?" "He's an opera singer. He's an opera singer. He's American." And then I got hired.
No
and when I
shit.
did the audition for Marty, which was because now I know, but then I hadn't been doing a lot of theater, or you go in, you read, they say thank you.
Yeah.
So I went in, and my wife was with the assistant casting director. And she and I, they were both standing in. I walk in, and I said, introduced me to Martin Scorsese and to the writer. Anyway, I said, "This is a real honor." And I said, "We met. You came to the Metropolitan Opera to see," and he said, "Macropolis Case." I said, "Yes." I said, "I met you that night." "That's right. You were the old man. I remember. You were the old man. You were the old man." And he's hanged with that terrific woman. She was great. I said, "Catherine Malfitano." "Yeah, that was a terrific show." And I said, "I'd like to offer my condolences for your death of your mother, because his mother had." I said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't have told you right on."
How long ago was this?
Oh, Jesus, whenever, 2010 to now,
Yeah.
or something like that. She said,
So how long did you end up being on Boardwalk Empire?
4 years.
4 years.
They went 4.5.
Holy shit.
I walked out of a window.
That's
I
like the.
walked out a window. I didn't realize
it's a show of a lifetime.
Yes, it is.
Wow. And you get to meet all these people.
Great.
And how was your German to them?
They hired a guy to do the little extra stuff, and then when they realized, and he was very good, and he helped me a great deal. You come from the theater.
He's a linguist?
Yeah.
Right.
And the only other time, then I would ask my wife's doctor for little bitty things. There was once in the.
Do you speak German?
Nine. No, I speak. I'm Michigan. That's all. Very little German, a little French.
But you studied the accent and you work with the linguist, and away you went.
And I worked with Germans continually, constantly. So and my good friend, my wife's doctor, Karl-Heinz Merlin. I always hear that.
What any of the operas in German?
Oh, all of Wagner, many of Mozart.
So you had to sing in German?
Yeah, I sang in German. There was no. We were doing
So you sing in Italian,
German, French, Russian, and Czech.
but you don't speak the language.
I don't speak Russian.
But you could sing the song.
I sing the aria. I study it and get as close to the word-for-word translation as I can possibly get, so I can still emote, utilizing or display utilizing what the composer had in mind.
Okay, but if you're hired to sing a song at the Met, and you say, "Okay, this is the song," but you don't speak the language, how do you read what you're singing?
Well, you study it. It's not like you're going in.
In other words,
you don't go
maybe
in.
I'm not explaining myself correctly. Somebody sings a song, we get the story because they know the words to the song.
Yeah.
They sing the song. Maybe they even wrote the song.
Right.
But how do you put passion behind a song in another language? You have to know what you're actually saying in the song.
You have to know what you're saying. Not only
Like,
that,
is it a love song? Is it a hate song?
But it matches the line of music that the composer has written. So when you combine both the poetry and the music, something wonderful happens. But you have to feel, at least for me, inside of me, I have to feel the warmth of that music coming forward. And then I can add on top of that the text, and then I let that take over the character.
Well, it's almost like a knucklehead like me listening to an opera song. I don't know what they're singing, but in my head, I'm like, oh, this has got to be a love song.
Yeah.
It might not even be.
But generally it is because, come on, you know what you're hearing.
Sure.
Even though you don't know it, the music will just tell you.
All right, so the average guy...
I mean, if somebody's going to get up there and go, alles für der liebe Freund schnäbelt den Herz und küsst. It's not a love song.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell. It sounds like you want to kill somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hate song. Is that German?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so great. All right,
Jawohl, yeah.
All right, well, listen, we're going to have to move into this little category of putting you on the spot. Now, told you I had a lot of guys come down here and sing some songs.
Ooh, you don't want to sing anymore.
We could do a little a cappella of something that just a couple of bars, maybe one of your favorite things.
Maratuzol, ugio bello in o sole mie, sana franda de, o sole, o sole mie, sana franda de, sana franda.
And the crowd goes wild, ladies and gentlemen.
But I don't do that anymore. I'm formerly an opera singer.
Wow. Wow.
Now I like to ever tell stories about these great actors I was able to work with. And I'm telling you, Boardwalk Empire it's just a joy. There wasn't one actor on that set or crew. We wrap on a Friday and everybody would get together Saturday and Sunday and then get back to work on Monday. It was like you just one happy family.
We were shooting in Atlantic City mostly? Where were you?
No, we were here in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Right there at the naval base, the formerly Steiner Studio. It's a huge area of property.
Wow.
They built sound stages.
What a great project to be part of, because it was a period. You get to wear those clothes.
Oh, yeah.
You got to meet and mingle with all those pretty big name people, of course.
With and without clothes. Some happier without the clothes.
Who are some of your favorite people in the opera world?
Well, I would have to say Luciano, Placido. We did a lot of things together. Placido Domingo, a lot of operas together, a lot of recordings.
Placido Domingo, is he still alive?
Yes, he is.
Is he still out there playing, performing?
He's running a foundation. He has a international concert series where he auditions people, and they called Operalia. I think he's still doing some conducting. But you know that thing you told me you said to the guitars?
You're too old?
Yeah. What happened?
Put it down.
You know you're dead? So there's
Put a smile on your face, asshole. We're live.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry I said that. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and Mira Lafreni, Scotto, Jesus. Charlie Anthony, working with my own Fach, it's called, a Fach. You just gotta watch. It's the group where the Germans decided everybody has to be in a certain, not level, a certain pigeonholed, mezzo soprano, soprano, coloratura soprano, dramatic soprano,
Well,
German soprano. It has all of it.
how many people can do more than the one?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, so, I would do Spoletta in Toscan, I would do David in Die Meistersinger. And at the same time, too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable, man.
No.
You're like the jack of all trades.
A master of none.
You want to do a stand-up comedy routine now?
Yeah. But I want to do it sitting down. At a certain age.
I'm going to sit this one out.
I'm going to sit this one up. But before I go, I'd like to tell you about this duck.
Two guys go walk into the bar. There used to be three, but the guy's too old. He can't do the show no more. What's your future now? What are you looking to do?
I have a foundation where we support. Actually, we don't support. We give a venue to large dramatic voices. We all mature. Everybody matures at a certain time. Well, women mature.
We talked about that when your balls drop at 13.
Yeah. But the problem is there are some voices that are so full and big that it takes a longer time for them to grow into their voice. So in many of these young artist programs, which there are so many of now, and many programs now, the musical theater people and legit theater has done these young programs for young people to get their equity card. Nevertheless, this program that they have now, generally the age limit is 32, men and women. And so these big voices go and say, well, you got a great voice, but we're not going to do anything that will fit you. And then by the time they mature, they're matured out of the age limit, and there's no place for them. And then they audition for opera companies. Say, well, you don't have any experience. We'd like to take a chance. Someone's going to help you, I'm sure, but we can't take the chance of you singing Elizabeth in Tannhäuser and it all works for you.
Talk about a difficult business, man.
But we try to
shit.
give them a venue in Manhattan so they can have a venue to start these dramatic things.
So what are you on the board of directors of this?
I'm the president of it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, just so happens I have a card. I didn't plan for it to be upside down, but it was kind of good, huh? So
what's your social media?
There it is. Yeah, that's it. Oh, look, they got some more stuff on this side. I don't know what the hell this stuff is. I'm too old.
I think you can follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me.
You can follow me if you want, depending.
Oh, this is hilarious.
So they come from all over the world to do our winter intensive and our summer program. It's spectacular. We had from
great.
Armenia.
Wait a minute. Now let's get this out there. Let's let everybody listen. First of all, this is a court gestures hat.
Yes,
Okay.
because
the clown.
Yeah, because my email is clownprince.
Is that right?
That's exactly why.
Okay, so the court jester.
The three. Well,
Alpha
without the PH.
Alfalfa.
No, Alpha and the Omega. I dedicated the
Anthony
Laciura Foundation
for the Arts Incorporated. Okay, so that
was dedicated to God, and the three little balls have nothing to do with the pawn shop, but with the Blessed Trinity. So yours truly seems to be a very deep Catholic who a lot of times says nasty words.
All right. Well, what is your social media links? Do you know? Here, I can figure them out. Are you on Facebook and Instagram?
I am on Facebook,
all right.
But I don't know how you get to me. I mean, you just download, right? And you just say, "Can I be on your Facebook?"
Yeah.
How do you do that? I have a number.
Well, my Instagram is Mike Marino Live. My Facebook is at Mike Marino Live. My website is mikemarino.net. So
I must be at Anthony Laciura.
Yes.
Anthony.Laciura.
You would be, yes.
That would be my...
If that is what you set up for yourself.
I think that's what I said. I don't know. People did it for me.
Well, yeah, we always have people do things for us.
I got a lot of people doing things for me.
We're going to give out some email addresses here. So NewYorkDramaticVoices.com.
Right.
So that's easy to remember.
Yeah.
NewYorkDramaticVoices.com. Anthony Laciura Foundation.
Yeah, you're looking at the U too soon. Laciura. God bless you.
Laciura.
God bless you.
Foundation.org. And if you want to write to him directly, Anthony Laciura Foundation @gmail.com.
Right.
And then on Instagram and Facebook, again, it's Anthony Laciura on the social media. So you got to look at what he's doing and what he's providing and what he's offering, because there's probably a lot of up-and-coming people who want to be in the opera business.
We've updated the website.
Figure that out. That's really, really great.
Well, we're trying to help. When I was a kid, at 10 years old, a famous bass I was singing with, making my debut at 11 with the New Orleans Opera. And Norman Traeger, and many of you out there who are into opera maybe remember Norman Traeger. And he said, as you get older and you become famous, you have to help the young people. 10 years old. I said, okay, Mr. Traeger, I can do that. And I never forgot.
That's really nice. Well, we do have to pass the buck, because in show business, usually helping other entertainers helps yourself anyway. Before we get going, we do have some snacks that were given to me last night at the Scotch Plains Fanwood High School inductory. That I am now in the High School Hall of Fame, but somebody brought traditionally some schredels from a pastry shop in the area to say congratulations. Well, he happens to be Italian. He's probably more Italian than I am because he speaks Italian. He sings in Italian. His family's from Italy. My family's from a small town in Italy called New Jersey. But we have 4 cakes in here, and we're just going to take, we just got to bite into it. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's a carrot cake over there. There's an Italian different colors cake that I can't stand right over. I hated it, never liked it my whole life. And then there's these things that are really, really ugly. Oh. But if you dip it, you see the face he just made? You dip this in your coffee and you're living. How do you say this?
Sfogliatelle.
Sfogliatella.
No,
how do you say it?
Sfogliatelle.
Sfogliatella.
Sfogliatelle.
Well, that's yours.
Thank you.
Unless you want this
no,
something else.
This.
I'm going to bite into it. He didn't even wait. Look at him. What do they call that in Italian? Gavone. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Now, can you sing a cappella right now? Sing us a song right now. If he chokes, we're all in a lot of trouble. Hey, listen, folks. We're going to get going. We're going to have this nice little pastry. I want to thank my guests for coming down to the basement. But before I do, we're going to have to make him another cup of coffee. He just went dry. I want to thank a nice big shout out to my producer, Tatiana Blue Show, for always making sure we put on a great show down here in the basement and getting in touch with some really cool celebrity entertainers to come down and make us laugh and make us listen to some really cool opera. One more time, tell everybody on the internet, they can find you at all your social media links, which is Instagram and Facebook at Anthony Laciura.
Laciura.
Yeah.
And the other things are Anthony Laciura Foundation for the Arts at gmail.com. That's our website. You can get all the singers and all of these good things of people, little clips of people singing. And then you can contact me at Anthony Laciura, Clown Prince at earthlink.net. You can contact me personally that way. And the other one could be is www.newyorkdramaticvoices.com. The wonderful thing is they're all interactive. Or you can just go on Google and type up Anthony Laciura, Laciura.
Or go on the internet and watch reruns of Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Oh, come on now.
Very good. Yes, do that.
We're going to watch because I need to hear that accent in German.
Yeah, it's good. What's the Schwojatel? See, you have the Schwul. It's the German thing. You have this Schnitzel.
The Schnitzel. All right, listen, we got to get going. Folks, thank you so much for coming down the basement and hanging out. Remember, you can watch all the episodes whenever you want, all the time, at my YouTube channel, which is Mike Marino Live on YouTube. We're also on Spotify. You could also listen to the show on Italian American Radio in New York City. All right, all my social media links, of course, are Mike Marino Live. Let's make America Italian again, ladies and gentlemen.
Bene, buona idea, Michele. Buona idea.
And you know my motto. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts? By saying the same thing along with my guest. Don't take no shit from nobody. You ready?
Don't take no shit from anybody or from nobody.
You fucked it up. Come on, I'm going to do it again. Ready?
Don't take no shit from nobody.
What the hell is... Who did that?
Somebody felt he was famous for that.
He did that in a movie.
And there was another German that did it before him.
We're never going to end this podcast. All right, I got to go. See you later. Hey, folks, thanks for watching Live from My Mother's Basement. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, hit the word like and leave me a really cool comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes, and you can watch some of the funniest videos on the internet. You can also listen to the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app.